Now, it's important when talking about rubric analysis that we really have a good understanding of what's going to be expected. This is an ILEAP grade 6 guide from the state website. When we look at this, we see that our main focus for this week is content, but also there's also a rubric for style, and we'll be adding on learning about that very soon. But this week we really want to look at the content, and this dimension is measured, focusing on the student's central idea, development of that idea, including an appropriate and accurate use of information from the passages, and of course the organization of student ideas. We'll be building on to the style portion of the rubric in a week or so, but this week we really want to camp out and really learn about what the content, what that exactly means and what's expected of us as 6th grade writers. Now we looked at a little bit on this page this past week, and we looked at the summary of points. We know that content has 4 and style also has 4, and that means that we have a total points of 8. Now we had a lot of questions about spelling and grammar. Those portions are graded on the multiple choice portion of our ILEAP exam, but we also talked about the importance of you really have to make sure you're spelling and using the correct grammar choices, because you want your reader to have a really good understanding of what your message is and what you want to say, what you are trying to tell your reader. Now this is the content portion right here, based on 2 passages. We want to kind of to note that when we're looking at content, the focus, of course, is the central idea, development, and organization of our paper. Last week we talked about these numbers here, 4 and 3, 2 and 1, and what our goals were. Today we're going to break down, or we're going to analyze the different portions of the rubric. We're going to talk about number 1, the central idea. What does that mean? Number 2, use of passages and development, and then of course number 3, organization. Many of our goals were in the 3 and 4 range, so we'll be looking at basically this section of our rubric for this session. Okay, so the first part of this rubric we're really going to look at is right here, the central idea. Really important as we go through and we look at the content right here. We go back to what will get you a 4, what will get you a 3, a 2, and a 1. It's important to look at just this information right here. All of this. We know that if you're looking to get your 4, 3, the bulk of your points, it all falls down into right here. You want to make sure you have a completely focused central idea, that you've read that prompt very, very carefully, and you are answering the specific question, and it is very, very focused. And it also shows that you understand what the prompt was asking you to do. Just taking some time in the beginning processes, you're brainstorming, to really analyze the prompt, to look at that prompt very, very carefully will help you get there. You'll notice that as we move this way, 3 points is still good. It's reasonable control. You have some strengths, some weaknesses. You have a clear central idea, and you show a general understanding. But there's room for improvement. And sometimes what happens is we read the prompt real quick, and we don't necessarily write on topic, and then that's where we kind of get. And into this section right here. So just got to be careful. Make sure that we are going to go ahead and read that prompt carefully to make sure you have a good central or main idea. Now the next section of the rubric we're going to look at is right here, use of the passages and development. Before we really go into what the rubric says here, we want to make sure that we're really focusing on this area right here. For our next writing that we're going to look at this week, and for benchmark exams, we're going to have to read 2 passages, but be real careful right here. It says only one. When you only address one of the 2 passages, you cannot receive higher than a 3 in content. So just by following this direction right here, that's going to be super important. If you read both your passages and you only take evidence from one, the highest you can get is a 3. So if you're looking for that score of 4, you have to make sure that you address both passages. Now, looking into this area right here, it says includes an ample, well-chosen evidence from the passages to support central idea. Well, one of the big questions on Friday was, what is ample? And that just means you have plenty of good, well-chosen evidence from the passages to support your idea. Well-chosen is real important. Is really important. We want to make sure that whatever passage or evidence that you take from the passage, that it actually supports what you're going to say. If you basically take quoted, explicit, or clearly stated evidence and you put it in your paper, but it doesn't really support what you want to say, it's just kind of thrown in there, well, that's not really a good example. And what you're going to probably fall into is points in this range. We want to make sure that all your evidence and ideas are developed thoroughly, and they're specific, relevant, and accurate. That means that your details are correct. They are important to your stance or how you are responding to the passage. So that is something good to know. Just as long as your evidence is well chosen and it's important to your central idea, you'll be fine. But if we look right here, evidence is minimal or no evidence from the passage, that's where we can kind of get in some trouble. Or evidence shows misunderstanding of the passage, minimal or no development, that basically means that you have no supporting detail. So we want to have a good reason, and we're going to support those. But if we kind of go back and talk a little bit about our grocery list, when you have a bunch of reasons but there's no supportive evidence behind it, that's where we're going to find ourselves falling in this 1 and 2 range. So just to kind of be careful, we're going to focus for this information right in here. Okay, and for the third part of our content rubric, we're going to talk about organization right there. Organization is one of those that it might be a little bit easier to understand when someone is reading your paper, and we've talked about this a few times. They don't know how cool you are as a kid. All they really know is the words on the paper. That's the only thing that they can actually grade your paper on. Whereas I read your paper, I'm like, oh, it's a cool kid. Maybe he's having a bad day. It's really, really important that whatever you have written down is really can be really understood by whoever is grading your paper, and it follows a good order and it is organized. So if we're looking at this 3 and 4 area right here, we want to see that you have evidence of planning and logical order, and it allows readers easily to move through the composition. A clear beginning, middle, and end contribute to the sense of wholeness and effective transitions. What that basically means, you have planned through your paper, and that's during the brainstorming part, where you can kind of plan what's going to go in the beginning, the middle, and the end. What are your reasons? What are your supporting reasons? Good planning in the beginning stages of your writing will make sure that this portion is really, really taking place. A few of you had questions on effective transitions. And guys, we talked about that a little bit. You want to be able to use transitional words like, first, second, third, or next, finally, then. Those kind of words that kind of help you move into your paper. Those transitions are always helpful. This right here is what's going to give you your most points. That's why it's really important, and when I try to tell everybody to make sure that you go ahead and you think about what you want to write first, and you kind of sketch that out, maybe a graphic organizer, and you brainstorm it, and then you start writing. What happens is when we read our topic and then we immediately just start writing our rough draft, this is where we're going to see points into this area. So I know we always talk about writing brainstorming our graphic or writing down your thoughts, listing. I mean, there's several different ways to do it, but any way that you like, definitely do it. But when we don't know that, when we don't have planning in the beginning of our writing, that the organization points, will definitely affect that. So be careful on that, and know that's why we need to make sure we are doing some planning and jotting down during the brainstorming. You have those pages available to you. Please use them. Okay, I-Team, I really hoped you guys enjoyed our review lesson on the 6th grade ELA content rubric and why it's important to be able to analyze and understand that rubric. Just as a quick reminder before we go, this is the content rubric right here, based on 2 passages. It focuses on the central idea, development, and organization. It can go from anywhere from 4 points to 1. So of course it's broken down into your central idea. So you want to make sure you understand the prompt and you write with a clear main idea. The second portion is based on plenty of well-chosen evidence that really supports your ideas and your thoughts, and the details are specific, they're relevant or important to your topic, and they're accurate, they're factual. And then of course you have number 3, organization. And again, I can't stress enough the importance of kind of going through and jotting down your ideas and organize them through your brainstorming process before you start writing your rough draft. So based on all of this is worth 4 points, and next time we'll be talking about the style rubric, which is also 4. Hope you guys have a good day. Of course, you know that you can always email me at, write this down, Jennifer.Dixon at Ascension Parish School Board.org. For any questions, I will see you guys next time. Thank you so much.